Hello. Hello.
Hey.
How
Everybody.
you doing,
Welcome
Gwen?
to Paranormal. I'm good. Welcome to Paranormal Surge, everybody.
Yeah, our first debut of the new show, Paranormal Surge. Me and Gwen is joining forces to bring a whole new show to all access network television. And we got some great guests tonight.
Absolutely. You want to bring them on?
Yes, we've got the CEO of All Access Network Television, Lee Brown, and her husband, Matt Brown. Oop.
Oh,
Hey.
There we are. Hey, everybody.
It's not a show without gremlins, is it? So I already got a couple of those.
No doubt
Well,
about it.
welcome. Yeah, welcome to the show.
Thank
Yes,
you.
number one.
Congratulations, both of you, on your show. Paranormal
thank you.
Surge is going to be great.
Yeah, we're
We're-
looking forward.
you.
We're going to try to bring some new stuff to the network for you guys and
Yes,
different
Absolutely.
views of things too.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
going to be great.
And we're also going to be promoting the Paracons that we're going to be going out to by bringing you guests that are going to be there, so you can get a sneak peek of them.
Yeah.
So, and of
Most
course, you had to be first, my favorite couple.
Oh, thank you.
Uh,
All
I
right.
must say there seems to be an interesting dynamic between the two of you hosting this show.
But it's
Uh,
a secret.
Oh
I,
yeah.
don't,
Okay.
I don't know what that is, man. Shh. I have no clue.
No idea what you're talking about.
But it's great. We're glad to be a part of the show. We're glad to be a part of your the new beginning, right? It's awesome.
Yep,
Yeah.
new beginning.
Yeah.
So a new start. And like I said, compared to my show, the Eternal Ex-Wolfpack Paranormal, this will be a little different. And it also brings Gwen from behind the scenes and from some of the other shows she's on to the front line. So
Yeah,
It'll
I
be
get
good for
fussed at
her.
a little bit. Yeah.
Hey, Thomas, thank
Hey,
you for
Thomas.
watching. Hey, Pat, thank you.
That.
Yeah, this is
Nice.
Gwen and Shawn's show. It's all about what their mission is. They're enjoying covering the paranormal and also paranormal events, and that's something
Yes.
I think we needed in this realm. We needed some people that would not promote paradrama or drama of any kind, but promote opportunities for us all to get together. I think
Yeah,
that's great.
That's right.
most definitely. I think the
Yeah.
drama in the paranormal.
Yeah.
I think the drama in the paranormal field needs to die off. I mean, I think there's way too much in it. I think we need to start working together as one instead of just being scattered all over the place and a conflict of interest all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get tired of that. I don't like to align my energy with that. I don't understand. I mean, I understand people being different. I understand people. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. Oh Lord, I got the hiccups. So we're starting the show with the hiccups, y'all. I
We got her nervous.
Of course we are.
nervous. But
There we go. You nervous.
yeah. And I just feel like, if we start listening to each other more, like there's times that Shawn's brought up some extremely good points when we've done investigations together and when he stepped in and helped us with the class. And I mean, there's just some really great things. And I felt like we were better, well-rounded, having somebody that is knowledgeable in the spirit realm as well as analytical. I mean, that made Brent feel better too. We did an investigation for those of you watching, and we had Shawn and some members of the class that I was teaching online at the location virtually. So as we were investigating, we were getting feedback from the classmates. It wasn't where anybody can see this because this was a private investigation, but we did have permission to have them.
Right.
Shawn, we had something very unique. There was a whole wall of mirrors in this location, and it created an incredible, what we believe is a portal.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
One of the great things about being able to do that is it allows you this level tool when you're investigating, because it's like evidence review at the moment that it's happening, because the people that are doing the watching online and that are involved in the investigation with you are seeing and hearing things that we may not be able to see and hear, and they're able to give that instant feedback instead of us, waiting till we do a review and getting to that point. It allows you that extra level, that next level tool, and it's been a very interesting experience having that.
When I actually go out on investigations, I actually do them live so that the viewers can actually follow along and see what happens firsthand and live, so they see what happens, and they can make comments as well. Like if they've seen something during the video that I didn't see or pointed out, so either we can figure out what it is or debunk it. So I always like doing that so they can actually participate as well.
Yes,
I think it's fantastic to do that. There's a lot of people that can't go out to investigations, and they can even call in. Hey, how you doing, Shane? Thank you for watching.
Yes, thank you, Shane.
I feel like it's a great way. Like, take for instance a friend of mine named Christopher. Hey, Guardian. He's letting everybody know he's on duty. But Christopher can't get out. He's got an immune disorder. And so it's an opportunity for him to be put on speaker so that he can ask questions and do an EVP session and ghost box session. It gives him a thrill that he couldn't have otherwise. So, that's why we're just trying to include more people.
We've had people that could speak other languages that were hearing those languages. We could not understand what they were because we didn't speak those languages. So that's another thing. You've got the ability to have people from all over the world. A late night hunt for us might be an early morning breakfast investigation for them. So
they're eating cereal.
We're eating cereal and going ghost hunting. So a little eggs and bacon and a boo at the same time.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
Did you know that cereal was invented in an insane asylum that was haunted?
I knew it was an insane asylum, but I did not know that it was haunted. Yeah.
Yep. He felt like people needed to eat breakfast, that it was something that would benefit people. It would make them more alert and more aware. And there was some financial constraints. And he was more holistic. And he was also a vegetarian back in those days. And he felt like this would be a good alternative. So he made baked corn, and then they made a bread out of it, and then they would, grate it and make cornflakes. And so that's where that came from. But it was also haunted. They had a guy that was making the cornflakes, and he was being plagued by a ghost in the kitchen while he was trying to make the cornflakes.
That's interesting.
I know it. So it's a haunted food.
Was cornflakes a play on words?
Maybe it was a play on words.
or even blueberry.
Blueberry. There we go. Now we know the real story.
Those were good.
Yeah, and I love the chocolate.
Oh, there's.
Hey, Casey. Thank you, Susan.
Those are good too. We got to
share
people.
it
Thank
out
you guys.
for us. Got to get the word out.
Susan, Casey, Angie, Shane. Yep.
They're all out.
Please. It looks like
so. I know everything about you guys, but yeah, they are. So why don't you guys start telling us a little bit about you, both of you?
I think we got delayed, Gwen.
I think I did too. I'll shut up.
I think
you were
so
asking
too.
a question.
Go ahead, Gwen.
No, it's okay. Yeah, Paracons, and there are so many of them this year. Matter of fact, Jamie Lynn, she's paranormal rockdown. She's she was watching just a minute ago. Hopefully she's still there.
Yeah.
If you are, hey, thanks for joining. We're gonna do y'all too. So, but yeah. So I know everything about you guys. Shawn knows a lot. So why don't you tell our viewers just a little bit or a lot?
Well, I grew up with a lot of very interesting and somewhat frightening paranormal experiences when I was growing up. I lived in a violently haunted house and ended up going into spiritual warfare basically at a very young age. At about 15, started off with that. Didn't fully understand what I was up against. Of course, I was 15 years old, and I went to the different churches and tried talking to the different pastors, and most of them, their face turned white and they got a little scared and said, we're going to have to escalate this to the next level. And in the long run, ended up having to do some research and fighting it ourselves. Of course, my mom was right there with me, and we ended up taking on a spiritual battle. And when you experience something like that at a young age, it never goes away, and you want to know more. And I kind of thought all my life, from 15 until I met Lee, I was like, I'm never going to be able to tell anybody about this. I'm never going to be able to explain this to another person. And then I met Lee, and she had done all of that kind of stuff, but hers was on the kind of fun, let's go do this and let's experience this, and we're going to go have this adventure, and I've got all my family with me involved in it. And it was so cool to be able to communicate about this kind of stuff. And I knew that I had either met my match or found my match, one of the two. And when I met her, and it just, everything clicked, and somebody I could communicate about this stuff. And then I'll let her talk about her experiences.
Well, interesting.
Tell us the episode where they can watch that at about you.
Okay, so it's on Paranormal Witness, and it is season 3, episode 16, The Coven. It's a taste of what's there. Of course, you can't get the whole gist of it, but it is a taste. It's actually the highest viewed episode that they have so far on Paranormal Witness series. Now you can see it all over the internet. It's a good series to watch because you see, we didn't accept defeat. We charged into that thing with it was tough in the beginning because everybody in the family was trying to keep it to themselves. Like, I can't talk to anybody else in my family about this. But then once we realized what was happening, and we had to communicate, it was keeping us apart and separate as a way to win its battle.
Kind of dividing and conquering is what I was trying to do, and break everybody down.
Easier to tear everybody down individually instead of as a group where we can build each other back up. But once we figured out what was going on, of course, it turned on to the next level once we started working together against it. But we had each other, so we could fight against it, and that's been our thing. I never wanted anybody to go through that experience by themselves, so when Lee and I got together, it was a match made in heaven or somewhere it was made.
One interesting thing is that the pastor that gave him the most advice was my dad's cousin.
Oh,
and my dad did some cases that were very, they were demonic.
Yeah.
Right.
So they had some experience. So he was actually tapping into my family line at 15, and we didn't know each other, obviously.
Wow.
So,
awesome.
and as for me, my dad was a herpetologist and mammologist with Ross Allen's Reptile Institute in Silver Springs, Florida. He was one of the guys that put on the variety show, very similar to, oh my goodness, Steve Irwin. There it is, Steve Irwin. And so Dad those guys that would present to customers kept the money coming in for the scientists that were there in the labs. Well, the people in the lab and the people that were, making presentations often had a little bit of a rival between each other. Well, it was even more so with the children, because everybody lived on a compound connected to the Seminole Indian reservation. And I was the only girl. So I was a tomboy, and I did a lot of things in the summers with the guys, and a lot of Boy Scout troops would come for the jamborees in the summer. And so, it was me and like 3,000 Boy Scouts, and you couldn't tell us apart. So, but meanwhile, my grandfather was on my mother's side was he was in World War II. And while he was gone, my great grandmother and grandmother, and then eventually my mother, all investigated the paranormal together. And there's a lot of things that were happening during World War II. I mean, that was a very rough, heartbreaking time period in history. And it's a perfect storm for haunting. That's why there's so many haunted train stations and things like that, because the bodies were coming back,
Right.
Things like that. People not knowing what happened to their spouse, or they find out what happened, and now that the trauma of that, coming home and she's gone, or she's got a baby and she wasn't pregnant when you left, stuff like that. I mean, just horrible.
That's not good.
And so people would call my grandmother and say, "Hey, can you get Judy," which is my mother, "to pray for me?" Mom was 4. So she would pray for people, and there were actual miracles that were seen during that time. Mama Jenny had the ability to see spirits, and so did my great-grandmother. And so they would be called places by women that were afraid, because, these are Rosie the Riveter ladies, okay?
Mhm.
There's nobody else that's going to help them.
Right.
So they went running with their, candles and baby powder and compasses and sometimes flashlights, sometimes not, depending on if they had money for batteries,
Mm-hmm.
And they'd work on who was going to pick them up, because only a few people had cars. And so that's how they got where they needed to be, and they investigated. So after Matthew and I connected and then married, we were able to go back and investigate the cases that my great-grandmother and grandmother did. And we compared the evidence. And luckily we were able to do this while Mama Jenny was still with us. She's with us in spirit, but she's not with us in the flesh. But just so you know, Microsoft Word has a dictate button. You can click it and talk into it. And so Mama Jenny had no idea that she was actually writing part of her book, of our book, of her words.
Yeah.
So the name of the book is Family Spirit 5, The Origins of 5 Generations of the Supernatural. That's way too long a title, but that's what came out, and I couldn't fix it after. So we do have another one coming out. It's going to be Family Spirit, Crypts and Cryptids. So there's some more things coming out.
And
That's
Angie
cool.
was asking, I see Angie was wanting to know what the actual show number was. It's
Gwen answered it.
season 3, episode 16.
I think I meant, oops, sorry. Season 3, episode 16. Please go watch it, everybody.
Yeah.
Please go watch it, because I've watched it a lot.
Now, listen, if you watch it, please remember that it's not the typical coven, especially when you get into the case. You will see that there's a lot to this that has nothing to do with Shane's watching. You will understand what it is, but the average novice would not necessarily understand what type of ceremonies that they were doing.
Yeah.
Right.
And we will be on location at the Paracon in Alabama, in Deep South Paracon, and we'll be teaching some classes and things like that. So if you see it and you want to ask questions about it, or you watch Lee's show and you want to ask questions about it, we're going to be there. Feel free. We'd love to see you, love to be a part of it. We've all got classes. Gwen's got classes that she's teaching too. We're excited
I
about
do.
that.
Yeah, we're going to
I
go
am
into a little
up,
more about the Paracons a little later in the show. So we'll put the
Yeah.
posters up.
Oh, I just gave him a sneak peek. It's
Yes, it's a little sneaky peek.
He snuck a peek out there. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
it's on. It's on
Angie, thank
Peacock, Andy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
the
Go watch
Ginger, my dog wants to be on the show.
She
so.
sees you,
Mhm.
Gwen. No,
it.
she
Hey,
sees
baby. I'm her Auntie Gwen. Hey, baby. Oh.
Mhm.
So,
This-
you guys have done so much together and apart, and books and this and that, and just why don't you run down the list so everybody will know?
Well, wait a minute. Let's start from the top.
Yep.
Let's start from the top. Okay. I don't remember if the book came first or the filming in Los Angeles came first.
the
Filming
filming
came
came
first.
first.
So we started a paranormal
Well,
group,
yeah.
and we started going back and investigating places Mama Jenny had gone.
Yeah.
We started our
Mhm.
case files. We were very serious about training, as you can imagine.
Yes.
And then
started,
and-
and then we
I started my podcast.
and we
That's
joined-
what it was.
We joined forces with the
Paranormal
demonologist
SWAT.
group.
The
Yeah.
name of the group is Spiritual Warfare Alliance Team, and we take on extreme cases, and we have demonologists all over the nation. And Angie says, "Hi, Luna." Yet Luna's asleep. She's not photobombing tonight. But so we've let's see. I started the podcast about my family because we were having a lot of very unusual, heightened spiritual experiences,
Yes.
paranormal experiences. So we joined Spiritual Warfare Alliance Team because we wanted to study more extreme cases. We had to because there were a lot of things coming our way. And then when that happened, we were picked up to do a show. It's called My Ghost Story Caught on Camera. The name of the episode is 9 Lives, Husbands, Wives. And it's about a beautiful mansion, southern mansion, that's very historic. It's on the historic register.
Mhm.
And we experienced pet spirits of cats that were there. And also when we asked, are there any spirits here that'd like to speak to us? The answer was throughout.
Yes.
So
Many
there were different, they would add on to the house, different areas for the family to move in. So let's say if we had the house, our children would have a wing. So my son and his wife and children would have a wing, and my daughter and her husband and their children would have a wing. And so that's just how that went. They would
Huge
probably, it's fascinating. It's actually where the paperwork was written, where the South seceded from the Union. It wasn't presented until it was received in Abbeville, South Carolina, at the Burkstart Mansion, but it was drawn up at this location.
Mhm.
So anyway, 9 Lives, Husbands, Wives. And then after that, we did Paranormal Witness. And then we were chosen as the concept family for Ghost Inside My Child. We're episode 1, season 1. We had some past life memories that were bleeding through, and we just had to go ahead and say, well, we're going to deal with this because we can't get any sleep. The kids couldn't get sleep. Everybody was remembering stuff. We could understand different languages and things like that how is this possible? So, we were lucky enough to meet Mark Phillips with the Bio Channel. He designed this. Initially, it was going to be a show about our family. And then he said, no, there's other stories out there. We're going to open it up. But they kept us on to do recruiting for the show and do interviews and to be an advisor.
Mhm.
After that, let's see.
And then counseling, counseling.
Yes, we did a
people
lot
who
of
went through
counseling
that.
before, during, and after.
Mhm.
Now, let's see. Ghost Inside My Child. Oh, then I got picked up for Repossessed. Now, that was a journey. During 2020, I saw a show on YouTube that I thought, this lady is the real deal. She knows psychometry. And I watched her methods, and I'm like, I do the same thing. Well, I got her name, and I found her on social media and sent her a message. We hit it off. She invited me to be on her show. And little did I know, she would call me a couple weeks later and say, hey, are you interested in doing a show? And I was like, it's 11:45 at night. I'm in the bed. And she said, well, do something because they want to talk to you now. So I put on a bra, pulled my hair back, and put on some lipstick. No, you got to from the waist down. I was in jammies, and I did my interview, and that's how it went. They said, okay, mark it down. I marked it down, but I didn't believe it till I saw it. Next thing I knew, I saw it. And when it happened quick. Off I went. And it was, it did. It was a big one. I was gone back and forth for 6 months. Very similar to a deployment, like what, and that actually calls it my deployment sometimes. And it was
the battle. So
yeah, well, it was because there are a lot of things that these precious clients needed help with.
Yes.
And I learned some things, and some things that we repossessed, which that's where the name came from. And other ones we were able to make it a little more dormant.
But the great thing is before that started, kind of in between a couple other shows, we started teaching at one of our local colleges, and then we got picked up by another college to teach. And that to me has been one of the most rewarding things.
That's awesome.
When people come to you and want to learn, parapsychology, it's an amazing thing. I mean, everywhere from ghost hunting 101 to parapsychology,
cryptids
to cryptids, to
just the tech part.
Yeah, just the tech side. But it has been a wonderful journey, and the students and the people that have come in have become a family.
Yes, we have.
They have become a family. They have come to the class for an answer, for to find a reason, they had a question in their heart, and they came to that class. It wasn't just, let me go decide to go to take parapsychology 101 today. They chose, hey, I need to take this class because there's a question somewhere in my mind.
Something happened. They thought of something. A family member had an experience.
Yes.
They went to someone's home to spend the night and something happened. There's always a backstory.
And so many people have that experience, but don't have an outlet to find the information, and
we've been there.
They're stuck looking for information online or whatever. And, there's so much misinformation and negativity out there. And, being able, excuse me.
Bless you.
Being able to help people out and watch those students grow and have what I call that aha moment.
Well, Shawn, you saw it whenever we were investigating and you were virtual. You met some of the students that are forever people, they're tribe members now. I mean that is our go-to people.
Right.
I call them the Boo Crew.
We have
the Boo Crew.
We have faced family members' death. We have had family members pass away, and we've been there for each other.
Yes.
We've seen people get married. We've seen people have babies, and it was a big deal because there was a miscarriage first, and they've had two. So we've given baby showers. We've been at funerals. We've dealt with pets.
Yep.
We've dealt with. We've got a haunting, by the way. Somebody called today. I forgot to tell you guys. We got to deal with that.
So it never ends, but watching these people grow and the awakening that they have and those aha moments that they have when that question or whatever it is, they find that answer, that moment, that awakening moment is amazing.
It's definitely an eye opener, especially like you said, when they experience it for the first time and then start understanding what's going on, it changes your whole life, and the curiosity behind trying to find out more. It's in your blood by then.
The first time they see the K2 meter jump and they can't explain it, That's fun. But when the flashlight turns on and it's on the other side of the room and there's nothing that's supposed to do that,
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it is so
it's
much
amazing.
fun. And it proves that there is life after death.
Oh yeah.
It
Yes.
proves the dimensions.
Yes.
Oh, Angie and Shane said they've had 3 people reach out to them last night. Oh, and they also said
Lord.
paranormal lipstick and bra. Sounds interesting. We
Mm-hmm.
might have a new hashtag, y'all.
Yeah. Right.
Hey, Victor.
Sounds like another show.
Hey,
right
hey,
there.
Well,
Hello,
I got to
Victor.
say this one thing in the middle of all of this. This is how I found my bestie and her husband, or my best 2 friends, as I say, because I went to class.
Because
And
he
I'm
is your
EDT.
brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I found
And
you
that-
guys, and I found Mom.
Yes,
Yes.
my mother
Right.
knew you.
Yes.
So I have a question for both of you. You're both teachers, instructors, and you've both had experiences in your past. Do you think some of the people that's been coming to class has had some traumatic experience and wanting to find those answers and really wanting to dig into, like we were talking about, the experience of parapsychology and finding out what exactly is going on?
Yes.
Absolutely.
We've had people that's had a boo-boo.
Yeah.
It was a paranormal boo-boo. And, they thought they were doing the right thing and it wasn't the right thing. And it ended up ricocheting and they had a paranormal mess. And we went over there and said, well, this is what happens when you have nobody to fall back on.
Right.
You had no way to look this up, no resources. It could have been him.
Yeah.
I'm the lucky
Yeah.
one. Mama Jenny sat me down when I was about 5 and said, okay, this is what's going to happen. You're likely going to have these experiences. And she said, well, it could be. And the whole time, Mama Jenny and Mom were like, well, she could be like Mama was, talking about her grandmother or her great grandmother. And I'm like, oh my gosh. See, I had no idea about epigenetics, that it could actually be carried on into genetics.
Yeah.
And so I'm going, oh my God, I'm going to let them down. There is nothing special about me. I look different. There's the little blonde girls and guys, and then there's more of a darker ethnicity in the class. And then me, I just felt like Wednesday Addams or Morticia or something my whole life. And then here's Dad with all the animals. I had a pet wolf. I had a cougar. I had a baby lion. I had, monkeys. I had parrots. I had, oh God, just, I don't know. Guinea pigs, mice. I hated mice. I was so glad to feed those to the snake. Oh, snakes. Don't forget that. I mean, what girl grows up having cobras in the house? They weren't loose, but yeah.
Right.
So
It was training for me.
Yes.
Oh,
You had to learn how to handle the dangerous. That's what it was.
Bless.
Ah,
Well, at least I'm a good military spouse, right?
Right. Yes.
Because I had 2 Rosie the Riveters that were living with me most of my life, kind of holding my hand, saying, okay, you can either, my grandma took me in the bedroom and said, look, you're either going to suck at this. And that's how she said it. And I was like, because Mama Jenny didn't do that. You're either going to suck at this or you're going to be very successful and you're going to be a wife that he can be proud of.
Yeah.
And starting right now, you have a choice to make.
right.
And so that's where we were. Oh, and after I filmed Repossessed, we filmed Family Spirits with Brandon Alvis and Mustafa Gadalore and Kevin Ott.
gotta show you this. Gotta show you this.
Great
Hey,
folks.
Stan. They
All
are
right. If you
fantastic.
have not watched Repossess, go to Hulu, go to Disney Plus, go anywhere and watch it, because there is a fierce lady right there sitting in front of us.
Yeah.
And and it is
I
awesome.
will say, thank you for saying that. These
true.
cases were real. They were real, and they got physical. I swear, it was like going through military training. I finally got to the point where, because I know they wanted him to escalate. It wasn't just, oh, let's see how this one does. Oh, well, that one's not much. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, no, they tried to kill my ass. No way. It's like, you want me to, what?
Did you see what a Okay, I'm gonna butcher your name, and I'm so sorry. Is it Velocia Omega?
Lucia.
I'm saying that. I'm sorry, Ron. They
Oh
said
my
they're in the middle
God,
of
what a
watching.
gorgeous name. Thank you for watching.
And when I said it was fabulous or great, Stan Fikes said, I agree. And Stan,
Well,
we put your commercial out and we're going to do it again before we finish.
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah.
That is our commitment to you.
Yes.
We are
And
so
you guys
excited.
are coming on next week. So,
Yes,
Stan Fikes and Teresa Fikes. They'll be here next week.
they're precious people. They are exactly what you see. There's no pretense whatsoever. And they are preppers and homesteaders. So those of you that have that, that walk also. I mean, I love
Which should be everybody.
which should be everybody, yeah. Because we hung out our clothes. I had chickens.
Well, we got hit by I call it the Hurricanada from hell.
Wait a minute. I thought that was my name.
Hurricane
Okay,
Helene
yeah.
came through here, and we've never had that much damage this far inland.
Never,
And,
not for something like that. And
If-
now we're on fire.
If we
Yes.
hadn't prepped, to be ready for anything that could happen, we were doing pretty good. We had family members and friends that were coming to us and staying with us because we had prepared for the worst. And that's just a smart thing to do, to prepare for anything that possibly could happen in every aspect, in your spiritual life, in your paranormal walk, in your spiritual life, and in your physical walk too.
So are you ready for a great quote on that?
Yes.
Benjamin Franklin said, "Be prepared for the worst and hope for the best. That way you're always prepared and always surprised."
That's
There
a good
we
way
are.
to look.
It
Definitely a
is.
good way to look. I can definitely see one thing between the two of you, that your energy is pretty well matched together. Do you think that helps you guys communicate better, as in the fact of heightening your senses and being on one page?
Definitely. When we started this journey, and when Lee's spiritual awakening really started happening, she had it from the time I knew her, but she had some things happen, and some traumatic things happen to her that really woke things up. And we decided we were going to take this journey together, and we made a decision. If this was not right,
I prayed about it.
The
I said, "God, take this from
Take
me.
it from
if
her
it's
if
from
it's
you,
not."
enhance it. If it's not from you, take it. I don't want it."
Right.
And it started from almost that moment that it came out of my mouth.
And it can be trained as well, because I didn't have the abilities. I still don't consider myself to have a lot of abilities, but
Okay. All right.
look at what I'm sitting next to, right? So
He's telling you a lie. He does have it.
I will say this. Me being
Humility
on
is the thing.
me being on the former team, when I was with my group all the time, compared to the group I have now, when we were around each other more, we started picking up on everything else, and it's shared energy between all of you. And once that gets going, all that knowledge keeps going back and forth, and it just keeps going through your head, and then you pick up on new stuff. And it's pretty awesome when that happens, when you're all on the same page.
Oh yeah.
When you can look at each other, just look in the eyes, and you don't have to open your mouth.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I have to remind my special lady, when she is communicating with people, that in that fashion, in that way, I just have to say, hey, ladies, use words, because not everybody in the room can hear what y'all are saying to each other.
It took us a minute to figure out what he was saying, but
I know it.
Yeah,
He's talking about me and
words.
Lee.
Like,
Yep.
I'm like, you had half of that conversation. The two of you had half that conversation together without anybody else understanding what was going on. You didn't say a word, and then you come at me with the very last half of it. I'm like, oh, don't know what you said. I still have to use words, but I can pick up on things. And I can feel things,
Yeah.
But we do have some mechanical devices that allow you to enhance your abilities that we use in our classes in our school, and it's temporary. It doesn't last forever, but it gives someone the ability to turn those on in their brain. It's a portion of the brain that is used, and for people that have had traumatic injuries or anything like that, those portions of their brain awaken to pick up on what's left over, what may have been turned off at the time. And they may get that piece of that brain may start working again. And so it doesn't have to have it, but it really is an interesting experience when you have someone that goes through that has that temporary moment when they use those mechanical devices that bring them into that spiritual realm and allow them to see things. It can last 24 hours, 72 hours, but we had a funny story. I had a student that was driving home during the class. He was like, I didn't really feel anything.
We made a piece of equipment
and on the way home he calls us
after he did the equipment test.
He was a firefighter, and he was on his way home, and he said, I passed by a place where there was a fire or a wreck. I can't remember which one it was. It was some kind of accident. And he said, I remembered the lady that was there. And when I looked up in my rearview mirror, she was sitting in the back seat of the truck with me. And he slammed on the brakes and didn't know what to do. And he called us on the phone right then. She obviously wants to communicate with you. And he was like, I don't know about this.
He said, I got her out, but she didn't live. And I said, well, she wanted to say thank you.
Yeah.
And I explained, when she went off to glory, the last thing she saw was you fighting for her life. I mean, how else could she say thank you?
Right.
And he was like, yeah, but I didn't expect to see her in my truck.
So, it's a very, very interesting experience. And it's a good experience for people that don't have that on the regular, because now you understand what people that have that, like the group in here, that have that on the regular, what they go through, what they experience. It's driving down the road with somebody like that is when they don't have to focus on driving and they can just focus on the environment around them. They see all kind of stuff. I can tell you sometimes this lady has told me to stop because deer were running out in the road, or there's a person in the road, and I'm like, nope, not a person there. So it
is to some of us
very interesting, especially going down. You have to understand where they're coming from.
I'll say, hot damn, do you see that? He said, nope. And he just keeps driving.
But sometime in the future, he may start seeing them in different ways. So time's coming.
Right. Yeah.
Now he can hear things and he can feel it. Oh my goodness.
And the veil between the spirit worlds and the different realms are growing thin.
Yeah.
They're changing so drastically, and there's spiritually there's things that are changing, but there's things that are mechanically happening all over the world that are pushing us to that moment. Right. So there's testing of all this different equipment. There's from things like the collider and
the neutron accelerator.
China building a cold fusion plant. It's all kind of stuff happening.
Just yesterday, I saw that there was an article that was released, and it said that there's a laser that you can actually sort of look down through the laser beam, and you can see coding. Like Matrix kind of stuff, and it just shows you in between one dimension to the other.
Well, they have said that the Matrix is actually a documentary. If you know how to watch it and read it, they said from the get-go it's actually a documentary of things that could be seen right in front of you if you open your eyes and look at it that way.
Yeah.
So, but I remember him saying that a lot, and I've had to go back and watch it a few times because the more I watch it, the more I see different things from a different perspective. And it does point out a lot of different things for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then you've got, NASA's proven that there are 10 different dimensions they've been able to prove. And they've actually been able to send light messages back and forth. And that's just what they're telling us, right? That's just what we know about. So that means there's way more, and they've done way
Oh,
more
yeah.
stuff they're not letting us know about. You know, if they can
Mhm.
prove that there's 10, there's thousands, right?
Oh yeah,
And
for
there's-
sure.
That they haven't been able
Sure.
to figure out. Could you imagine just sitting in a room and all of a sudden a light beam comes through and you're like, what was that? And then you realize, you know, sometime later that it's a NASA from another dimension trying to send information to you.
Right.
You know, there's on how much of that stuff is going on. But yeah, that time is coming near, you know, that where those spiritual worlds are coming together.
Right.
You know, and it's time for people to understand and learn.
So
Not be
that
afraid, but
kind of
understand.
leads me to another question there, Matt, is in the fact of me, if it was me, I would love to know it. I'd like to know what's out there. I want to know what's out there, and whatever is we are capable of doing. Are you that type of person, or you want to let it just happen on its own?
No, I've been in the military for 22 years. I'm Army aviation. I've been all over the world, and I've seen a lot of things and kind of experienced a lot of things and seen things that, you know, couldn't really be just explained with nature as we know it or science as we know it. But I also know that there's a lot of stuff out there that, you know, the general public does not know about. And you know, like I said, I want to know it all. You know, I want to know everything.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. I want to see it
He wants
firsthand.
to go in space. He wants to
I
know
wanna do-
everything.
I want to do it all. You know,
Yeah,
more
he's
power.
not afraid.
I think that at this point, you know, after COVID and after all the things that had happened, you know, they realize that people are not as panicky as they originally were thinking.
Right.
That's why they went ahead and they released the information about the UFOs, you know, and nobody freaked out, you know, too worried about where's their toilet paper coming from.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
worried about the fact that there's aliens and, you know, fighter planes are trying to lock onto them and having a hard time. That stuff's out there, and they've come out and, hey, this is what this is. It would have been a perfect time for, you know, Bigfoot to come walking out and say, here I am, you know, you found me, you know,
Well, he
nobody
is
would
kind
have
of doing
He's
that.
he's kind of doing that, you know. Yeah, the sightings are coming a lot better, but you know, that's the people are not as afraid, and they can handle a lot more than they used to, you know. And I believe that they've always been like that, but we want to downplay people's ability to understand something. You know,
that's why I think this show is going to be so popular, because you guys are going to be looking into all those things.
I definitely think, you know, that our generation is more open-minded to finding out than the couple generations below us now, because of the way they were taught. But the fact is, like I said, I'm still the type of person, I want to know what's out there. I want to see it firsthand. I want to experience it myself. Definitely, for sure.
Definitely.
Well, I will say there was a theory at one point there were 11 dimensions, 10 to 11 dimensions, and scientists have been able to prove recently, there's been more studies that our brains, okay, Luna, my goodness, our brains actually think in 11 dimensions. So it means that our brain is already geared for that. We were created with this in mind. Well, if you're looking at 26 dimensions, which was a theory, there's like 5 or 6 of them that are mathematic based.
Right.
And so whenever you're looking into this, that's why it struck me. So when you look into this, like if you had this laser and you're looking down, not into your eye, but, you know, but I'm saying you're catching it on the side.
Yeah.
You can see, you know, and I go on TikTok and you can see it. You can see what people are saying when they experience it.
Right.
Bye, Stan.
Hey, Stan.
Thanks, Stan.
See you later, Stan.
Bye, Stan. Take care.
Well, Tesla made the statement at one time. I read something about the fact of 3, 6, and 9 is the main numbers for dimension. So if you can figure out the combination for that, then that's what he would use is 3, 6, and 9.
That's cool.
Yes, very cool.
Yeah, he's got a lot of interesting stuff. If you start reading about Nicholas Tesla and
I love Tesla.
Oh yeah.
The fact that they sold documents tells me right there's a lot of things he was right about, and they wanted to be able to control that information going out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He wanted electricity to be free for the masses, and thought it was a great way to advance people. And they were like, nope, we're going to control this and get paid for it. So
right. Well, the Egyptians and the Anakis back in the day would have that power like that too, and spread it throughout the world. And he actually come across that information himself when he was dabbling with portals and all that stuff. So that was definitely an interesting thing that Tesla was doing, especially some of his work.
Yes.
Well, if you look, that he comes from an area of time where the cyclical research with Houdini and Harry Price and all of that, he's from that era. Okay. He comes out of it with all these theories. I mean, he started studying this. He studied it, taught himself, and never had a degree.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of memory there. I think he's remembering some things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I hope one day that I'll be able to sit down with him and say, yo, what's up? Did you put all the pieces together yet?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to sit down with Tesla and have a conversation with him about portals and dimensions and all that stuff. And even with Einstein himself, he flunked several grades before he even got to where he was. And he was one of the smartest people there was.
Right. Yeah. Well, he got bored.
Yeah.
He just got bored.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we do too, don't we?
I know it.
We don't allow.
I didn't say it this time. So, guys, I know it's almost an hour. We could talk to you all night, because I don't spend enough time with you at all. But what you got coming up? Why don't you tell everybody?
Well, we are going to Deep South Paracomic-Con, and it's in Ozark, Alabama. It's August the 9th, and it's the Saturday and Sunday, right? And we are teaching workshops. We are teaching science and the supernatural. We're teaching
grounding and
shielding. That's always really powerful.
Yes.
We're also teaching light workers awaken.
Yep.
So people that are interested in being able to bring out the positive energies in their lives, and in order to help other people, they can do so. And Gwen's teaching. She's teaching podcasting 101, and a lot of people are already interested. And she is teaching both days.
Yes, I'm teaching both.
That's going to be great.
And, let's add that this is online as well as in the classroom for all of us.
It is online.
Yes.
And we just reduced our prices because we see that there's a lot of price hikes right now, and people are wanting to hang on to their money. So we are going to run a special, as well as we're slashing prices. Last year we were at 15. I had marked it at 20, and I said, no, we're not going to be bound by that because that's what everything else is doing. We're going back to 10 because we believe that the message is so important. And if somebody is interested in these topics, they need to be able to get some information.
Yeah, I would agree.
And that grounding and shielding class, even if you're not really big into the paranormal and you don't really understand that class, I have seen it change people's lives. I've seen it change people drastically, especially when dealing with environments and stressful environments. I'm in the military, so I've got, it can be a stressful environment. Yeah, it can, folks.
Oh, yeah.
And it is a wonderful tool for people that need to just decompress at some point in time. If you're suffering from PTSD and you feel like you have got a little more on your plate sometimes than you're allowed to handle, it's a really good process, and allowing yourself to shield. And if you're one of those people that, especially if you're empathic, you need to learn how to shield, because you can't just walk into them and take everything in. And if you're one of those, especially if you're a child or a teenager and you feel like when you walk into a class, you hear all the voices of everybody and you feel all the emotions of the people around you. And, you know, you need to learn how to cut that off.
We started
There's time
teaching
and
children
place, right.
how to shield at first grade through third grade.
Yeah.
It's that important.
There's a time and a place for everything. There's a time to turn that back on, and you need to be able to do it in an instant, but you also need to learn how to turn it off and shield yourself from it. So it's definitely something I feel like everybody needs to learn. And it's a passion of mine, and I've had some really great experiences with it. I've had large groups of people. When you get a large group of people and you're doing a grounding and shielding experience, the energy is off the chain. We had equipment set up at the last event we did, and we were sending that equipment off as we were pulling energy. That equipment was going off. It looked like a wave going across K2 meters and everything just going off like crazy. REM pods going off. It was very, very good. Very awesome.
Well, Valencia, if you are interested, you can take the class online. You can still go on to, hey, Margie, thank you for watching. You can watch the class virtually, and you can also participate from your own home. So don't feel like you have to come all the way to Alabama. Also, we will be going to, it's called Con, right? CONN, Paracon, CONN. And it's in July in Connecticut.
Yes.
Thomas Gormley and Charles Rosenay,
yes,
are putting this together, and it's going to be a great event. I saw the posters, and they are beautiful. And, you know, I'm just so excited to see all my friends there and to meet new ones. And then in November, we'll be going to Salem Con.
That's awesome. That'd be very.
And there's some more that we've been invited to, and I'm going to be hosting some ghost hunts in the fall, and I will be making some announcements soon.
Well, we got 2 shows that are coming out.
Yeah,
in
this year.
2025.
Yes, you do.
Can we speak about them yet? Okay.
Yes.
All right. We've got Family Spirits television series that's coming out, and one of the great things about that is Judy is in that with us.
And the show is dedicated to her.
Yes, it's the last film that she did with us. We're so excited that we're going to have that, and everybody's going to get the chance to be a part of that.
When you watch it, see if Mom's flirting with Mustafa, because she flirted with him.
Oh, she was. She said she was.
On there.
Yeah, he had his arm out like that, and she just patted him and talked to him. She came clear on him. Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And then also
Hey,
24
Chris.
hours
Hey,
of
Chris.
hell. Hey, Chris, thank you for watching, sweetheart. And then we also filmed
Hey, Margie.
the Hell House in the Waldorf Estate.
Yes.
And the things that we found out about that place was really intense. I've only been to a few places that have a similar feel, but it is very unique, very different. I do recommend that, you know, those of you that are interested, please follow through, go there. You'll appreciate it.
You might get to see the spicy side of Miss Lee in that. But at the end, towards the end, you're going to see something come out. I've seen it quite often, but you guys will get to
I don't remember doing that.
No, that's fine. You'll see it when you see it in film.
There you go. There you
You see it on film. It'll be great.
There you go.
See?
You guys can tell we have a great time together, and they have great
We
stuff
do.
coming up. Yep, they have 5 books, 6 books actually. Mom has one too. Mom is Judy, Lee's mama, my second mom,
Yep.
and they got all kinds of stuff coming up, all kinds of stuff they already done. You have questions, contact them, us.
Hey, Gwen, I think you're forgetting one thing.
Spicy, haha.
Oh yeah, spicy hot. Oh, no, what am I forgetting? Please remind me.
Why I'm coming down May 3rd.
Oh yes,
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we are having the powwow, and I'm gonna hang on. Give me just a second. I'm gonna pull that up. Here we go.
So May the 3rd at the Haygood Mill in Pickens, South Carolina.
Yes.
Our South Carolina Cherokee tribe, well, it's the Eastern Cherokee tribe, Southern Iroquois, and United Tribes. We'll have our powwow May 3rd from 9:30 to 5:30. The Haygood Mill historic site is fantastic. There's a museum there across the street. You can now actually go to the mill itself, and you can buy grits that were ground there. You can get flour, all types of things. The petroglyphs are in the museum, protected by the museum because it's over the top of the beautiful artwork. I highly recommend you go there. Please enjoy. We're going to have native tacos. If you haven't had indigenous tacos with flatbread, you are missing it. Do you know what flatbread is?
Well, the flatbread here is like a kind of a dough bread here, but
flatbread is if a hoe cake and a pancake or a tortilla had a baby. That's a flatbread.
Okay.
It's got some bubble in there like a tortilla, but it's nice and thick, and it's got a great flavor to it. And then
So if you guys get the chance to go,
thank you for coming.
When you look at those hieroglyphs, petroglyphs, yes,
yes,
look. So watch a couple episodes of Ancient Aliens before you go in there, and have your mind a little bit wide open when you go in there, because you're going to see something, and when you put it together, you might be seeing something that may have come down in maybe a little green man in a ship. So
maybe
it's definitely something you want to
some
look at.
Some people say it's not. Some people say it is. To me, it's a little obvious. Other people maybe not.
It is. But me also.
Cool.
Yeah.
And also, please watch Serial Killers, Supernatural, and Murders on Monday nights at 8.
Right.
Hashtag Leg of Joe. There you go. Yeah. Great time on the series, breaking down, maniacs and what makes them do what they do, and how we can be better prepared, and how we can maybe spot them and prepare, protect ourselves.
That is
if you don't know myself, Lee, Blaine Rohan, Thomas Gormley, that's who you'll find on there. And all of us would enjoy it. Yeah.
It's definitely a great show. Check it out. I actually sit here and listen to it every time they talk. And sometimes I learn some new stuff as well. And it's very interesting to listen to how deep they get into the conversation with the paranormal and sometimes the murders themselves. So it's pretty awesome.
It shocked me that Ted Bundy was known for being possessed.
Yeah.
That people actually reported smelling sulfur and him actually having some paranormal strength and ability that's known in demonic cases. Yep. That's how he escaped. And then also the Night Stalker. Yep. He actually was so abused by his father. He was actually hung on a cross as a young child in the cemetery to sleep overnight. That pushed him towards being a Satanist, between that and getting the tar beat out of him all the time. He's just, everything was against that young man. And you see what it made him. He wasn't born a serial killer, but he certainly was made one. But the supernatural situation is there. Yeah. Also with Charles Manson. The supernatural is in the middle of that too. So if you like supernatural and you might be a little bit of a, cult favorite with the supernatural with serial killers, join us. We're going to be talking about Pee Wee Gaskins coming up.
One of the great things about this too, now it's on Spotify, and for me with my commute, I really enjoy listening to it on the podcast on Spotify. It sounds great on the speakers, and it gives me the ability to have something really awesome to listen to, and I get to hear my baby and my friend on the show while I'm going down the road. So it's great. So check it out on Spotify as well.
Yeah, appreciate it. And you guys,
get there on Spotify.
Excuse me, I didn't hear you.
Gwen, can you tell them how to get there on Spotify?
Yeah, just honestly, you'd go in and look. It'll be under True Crime, All Access Network Television, which I'm the producer, Lee's the CEO. We also are on the show. I just got it on there this week. So I think there's 4 episodes, and I'm going to try to put at least 1 episode on every night until I get them all on there. And you guys, we have excellent other shows on All Access too. And once we get done, before we leave, I'll tell you about those also. But I got to say, I see you guys all the time, but it's great to be on the show. Thank you for being our first guest.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, guys.
Thank you
All
for the
right.
invite.
That's awesome. I appreciate it.
Yep, we're
Thank you.
celebrating with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
thank
And next week is going to be Teresa and Stan fight.
Fight.
And there, it's probably going to be 8:30 because Stan has his own stuff to do, producer wise.
Right.
And thank you, Kathy. And thank you for
Thank you,
everybody for
Kathy.
watching. And yes, thank you so much, everybody. And we got a lot more to come. We're going to be doing guests from all the Paracons. And I don't know. What else do you want to add there, Shawn?
We'll probably add a little bit of everything in here. It's going to be a little different from both of our shows in general, and open to discussion, and we'll see where it goes. Hopefully we'll go down some rabbit holes too.
Yeah,
Love
Thomas, we're
those.
going to go down some rabbit holes.
There you go.
Yeah, don't
All right,
forget
Lee,
to touch
Matt.
on-
All right,
Yes,
guys.
I am. What do you guys want to
Okay.
add at the end here? Anything?
Follow what you feel. That's what I want to say. If you feel like you need to learn something, you're interested in finding out more about the paranormal, if you feel it in your heart, go for it. Don't be afraid. I grew up in the Bible Belt of the South, on the belt buckle, really. And
Wow.
if we can do it here, you can do it anywhere. We'd love to help you guys, and if there's something we can do for you, we'd love to help you out. You can reach out to Lee, but just follow what you feel. Follow your heart.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
So, last thing I want to say is so many times you look around and you feel like there's no light. Everywhere you look, there's chaos or darkness or negativity. And my words to you, okay, then be the light. Hashtag be the light. That's where I'm coming from. If you don't see it, then that's your cue.
Yep.
That's your cue. Time for you to be the light, and others will also join you. They will. Smile at someone, they'll smile back.
Yep.
It's not as easy. Falling down the steps is a lot easier than climbing them, but
Oh
You'll
yeah,
see.
most definitely.
it's
Most
worth it. So hashtag be the light.
Be the light.
Yep. I'll do a hashtag. Follow your heart.
There you go. See? Hashtag follow your heart. Yes. We have drug you down that rabbit hole with us, Matt. So, yeah.
Yes, I'm the one that usually reaches in the rabbit hole and pulls people out. So
Like
by the
us
years,
too,
it tells
you say?
something.
Yeah.
Either that or he shoots the flare for me to find my way out. What are you doing, Marco?
All right.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, thank you. And I will talk to you in just a little bit. And we're going to pull you down so we can close it out. All right. What you got to say, Shawn?
They are awesome, and I'm looking forward to meeting them there on May 3rd when I come down, and it's going to be a great experience for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely
You
going to
guys
have to have them
join us.
both on my
Join us
show
at
as
the
well.
Paracon. Absolutely.
So, but yeah, it's pretty awesome. So, what did you think of our first show together of Paranormal Surge?
I think it's great. And there's more to come. Lots more episodes. And I think we started out great. I really do. So everybody that's watching, join us. Invite other people. Share if you would.
Yeah.
And we will see you guys next Thursday, if not
Next
before.
Thursday. And you said we might have a new time next Thursday.
Yeah. Stan and Teresa Fikes are coming on, and they needed 8:30 because they also have they have a network also, and they do
Right.
shows. So we're accommodating because we want them on. So 8:30 next Thursday, and we will send out a preview for it. So
Oh
you'll
yeah,
see
most definitely. Just
Yep.
keep an eye out for Paranormal Surge, and we will be back here next Thursday with another episode.
Thank you guys for watching.
Have a great day, guys.
Good night.
Bye.